What's going on, everyone? It's the People's Envoy Updog here with you again, and today got an important video. If you are wanting to know what teams to take in against this guy right here, I got all the info for you. At least some good teams to try anyway. We'll have to see how things go, and I'm sure there's going to be other hybrid teams, but these are some of the surefire teams that'll get you plenty of damage against Knull on the boss, the final day of Battleworld, day 6, zone 6. So if you're ready to get into it, let's go. Alright, so I did make a saved squads code for these teams. Now it's 6 teams, and they're also going to be kind of split into like a newer to mid-game player and then end-game player like myself. So that way it kind of applies to everyone. So here are the teams, and I'll kind of explain why we're using these teams and why I'm using some of these mythic characters with them. And then maybe some other options for some other plug-and-play mythic characters to go in with these teams as well. That these teams are the most ideal, in my opinion, and the best combinations with their mythic characters that we have in here. So, first off, not a surprise, is going to be the Annihilators. And if you don't have I'm going to just refer to them in this video as the big 4 mythic characters. So those big 4 are going to be Skrull, Mephisto, Odin, and Apoc. Now, if you have some of those, maybe not Odin or Mephisto, we'll talk about that. But trying to make this applicable to almost everyone who's playing, no matter what level you're at in the game. So Annihilators is a great team, very sturdy. They can take a lot of hits, kind of like the Astral team. Now, I guess disclaimer here, I did not add the Astral team on this list yet, because obviously we don't have any of the characters other than the reworks right now. So I will probably be updating this list after the Astral team comes out. Obviously they're going to be number 1 on this list. But this is going to be, if you are not purchasing the Astral team and you need to use other characters, this is going to be more for you. So, keep saying Annihilators, we're finally going to get to them now. So, so like I was saying, they can take a lot of hits, they can dish out a lot of punishment, and they're very resilient. So that's why I chose them. They're kind of like the number 1 team. You should be investing as much as you can into these characters. They're great in every game mode, not only Battleworld, but every game mode. Except for maybe raids. I don't really use them in raids that much, but everywhere else, they're great. And so so the full Annihilators would be if you don't have any of those big 4 mythic characters that I'm talking about. If you do have some mythic characters, then I would recommend Skrull going on this team. And we're going to drop off Gore, and we're going to put in Vol. So that way we are having a mix of those 2 heroes and 2 villains for Skrull, for his synergy. He gets a lot of more benefits from having the 2 heroes than he does with the 2 villains. So that's why we're dropping Gore here, and Ultimist, I guess, technically. And we're putting in Vol. Vol's still a really good, sturdy character. She has an ability block, and she can revive. Now, we'll go over some of the things that Knull does to your team here in a little bit. She's a good filler for this team. So that is my recommendation, to put Skrull with Annihilators. You won't see Skrull only but one other time with another team here later in the video, but he fits the best with Annihilators, and obviously putting in Vol in there too. I do kind of like him with Orcus, but you'll see that I think Apoc is a little bit better for Orcus. And so the other mythic character that you could put with Annihilators would be Apoc, but I think the Skrull Annihilators team is going to be a better fit than having Apoc, but Apoc is also an option. So next up is going to be the second team that I would recommend using against Knull is going to be Orcus. And if you have a full Orcus, hopefully by now you will have a full Orcus. They've been out for quite a while now, so I know their release method was not as favorable, but hopefully you have them unlocked now. And the full Orcus team is a good choice if you don't have any of those mythic characters, because they have the new stats, they have a lot of damage, they have a lot of sustain, they have a revive mechanic as well. That's another reason why I put Vol in there, because she can revive. But we'll talk about revives here in a little bit when regarding to Knull. So yeah, Orcus is a really well-rounded team, good for going into a boss like Knull because of everything they bring to the table. Now, as far as their best mythic character to go with them, I think it's going to be Apoc, because, well, I talked about how Skrull is pretty good, but I think he can fit in with other teams better. The reason why I think Skrull is good is because when Scientist Supreme uses her ult, she puts negative effects on Skrull, which actually gives him more turn meter. So that's one of the reasons why Skrull works pretty well with Annihilators. But I think Apoc overall, he's going to give more damage. He's going to be able to heal even more. And he just gives more stats to the Orcus members. So, gotta love that. So that's kind of why I think Apoc is the best fit with Orcus, because of his safeguard and immunity on spawn, he won't get those negative effects on himself from Scientist Supreme right off the bat. So I think that's pretty important. I thought about Odin with them. He gets that slow, and he's already kind of slow anyway, so that's really bad. Odin may not survive to get even his first turn if that happens. So with that immunity and everything else I just mentioned, I think Apoc is the way to go if you're going to do a mythic combination against Knull. Alright, so next team up is going to be the Spider Society team. That'll be my third recommended team going into Knull. They have a lot of sustain. Their damage could be better, but they do have a lot of sustain and control, so that makes them a good team to take into a boss fight like this, because the battle's going to last quite a while. They can slowly chip away at him. And if you want to add in a mythic character, I think the best one is going to be Mephisto with them, because they don't have any revive mechanics. And when you have a team that has revive mechanics, you want to be able to take advantage of that, right? So like Orcus has revive, but if you run Orcus with Mephisto, then you can't take advantage of those revives, because Mephisto doesn't allow anybody to be revived unless he's dead, and you don't want him dead. So that's why I didn't put him with Orcus for specifically this boss, these boss battle teams. So that's why I would use Mephisto there. He gives more damage, he gives more sustain. Even more sustain to Spider Society is pretty crazy, so that's why I would use Mephisto with Spider Society. Now, one of the other options would be Apoc with Spider Society, because so if Apoc, let's say you do his special on his turn 1, that will give safeguard to some of those Spider Society members. Mephisto also gives safeguard once he does his empowered first turn. He'll give safeguard to everybody. The only problem is he'll put taunt on all of your Spider Society. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I still stand by Mephisto being the best option for Spider Society because of that safeguard. And they kind of go fast, so they'll drop that taunt pretty quick. So next up, you can probably see here as I'm talking, but we have going to be a Black Knight, Hank Pym, Old Man Logan, Nightcrawler, and Phoenix. kind of a crazy hybrid team, but if you think about it, Black Knight is going to protect that Old Man Logan from just getting one shot before he can get a turn. And also, Black Knight, he has kind of like it's not really a health steal on his ult, but he does an amount of damage equal to his health, or 30% of his health, I should say. So that's a big chunk of health that will get taken out on Knull. So that's why he's here. Hank is here for a lot of the hero synergy that he has. Not only does he have Illuminati synergy, he has hero, a lot of hero synergy. So giving them barrier, giving Black Knight barrier, all the heroes here. He's a good addition to the team. Nightcrawler is going to give Old Man Logan speed bar so he can keep going. And Old Man Logan, you know the story on him. He's just gonna run around and do a crazy bunch of damage. And then Phoenix is here for two reasons. Number one reason is to give Old Man Logan and Nightcrawler more damage. But the other reason is when she goes into Dark Phoenix, she'll be able to steal that health from Knull. So you may only get that off once in a match, that health steal from Dark Phoenix, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth a lot of points when you're attacking into Knull. So I think that's worth it. Now, that's if you don't have any mythic characters, the big four. If you do have the big four, I think this is the best place for Odin, because Nightcrawler goes super fast, and then he's going to get an assist he's going to assist Nightcrawler, and Old Man Logan's going to assist. So you'll get that train moving with Odin really pretty quickly, and you still have that hero synergy from Hank. So it's really good stuff going on with this team. So I think that's the best spot for Odin if you have him. So on this team number 5 here, Hive Mind Skrull. Now you could do a full Hive Mind if you don't have Skrull, or if you don't have any of the big four. So they would do okay, because Knull, he drops in a lot of symbiotes and they're pretty weak, and so you can get that turn meter going with Hive Mind and just take a bunch of turns, do a bunch of damage. That's kind of my theory behind that. If you have Skrull, that just expedites things a lot more. So that would be my recommendation. And then my last team I'm recommending is kind of like a Sinister 6, Superior 6 hybrid. Vulture and Mysterio do a lot of good things when they have at least 2 of the Superior 6 members with them. So Mysterio obviously is going to have those summons that will take some of the heat off of your team. Doc is going to keep them healed up and keep them going with the speed ups and the deflex on Kraven and Goblin here, because they're adjacent to him. And the Goblin and Kraven are going to do the damage. And Vulture, he can get a lot of speed bar if those summoned symbiotes from Knull get killed, or the Mysterio summons get killed as well. And then Mysterio has a revive mechanic too. So a lot of good things going on here. That's why they're kind of a subpar team compared to the other teams. Now you could throw Mephisto or Apoc in here. I'd probably drop Vulture in that case. If you're going to do that, that would obviously make them better. So that'd be my recommendation for that team. So 6 options there. So we do have 4 mythic characters, which means you may want to put 2 of them on one team to make them even better. I would actually recommend dropping Vol here and putting in Odin. So that way you still have the 2 heroes, 2 villains for Skrull. Skrull will go really early in the match. Odin will assist him and just get that ball rolling. Because on the Annihilators, Odin won't get any unnecessary negative effects on him like he would with Orcus. And he'd be good with Spider Society. If you did like an Odin, Mephisto, Spider Society, you'd probably want to drop the Noir and keep the 3 newer Spider Society members. That would be my other option if you're going to run 2 of those mythic characters in one team. And so also I wanted to clarify that the reason why you would want to do 2 mythic characters in one team is because you do get 3 attacks on Knull. So therefore, 4 mythic characters, 3 attacks, you can afford to do 2 mythic characters on one team, and then still do another mythic character on 2 other teams for the 3 attacks total. So that's kind of why I was thinking or leaning that way. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of the video, let's take a look at Knull and see what he does against your team to see what we need to watch out for, or what we can or cannot do against him. So this is the blog that they shared a while back, and mainly we're looking at the passive here, the certain things that he does there. So number one, he can't be cloned from Mr. Sinister, so if you're thinking about that, very good idea, but nice try. They won't allow that. The other thing to watch out for is characters killed by Knull can't be revived. So even though like Orcus, or if we had Vol in there, they can revive characters. If your character was killed by Knull, they won't be able to be revived. So that is something important to keep in mind. And then the last thing to remember is that you cannot put ability block, exhausted, exposed, or stun on Knull. Those 4 things, pretty key components to gameplay, but you are not able to do that on the boss Knull. So if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna use the Skrull special on Knull and then he can't use his move, well, ability block doesn't land on it. So, or oh, I'm gonna stun him with Weaver with trauma. He does get trauma, but you can't put stun on him. It just won't, it'll just be resisted every time. Good luck in your boss battles against Knull. Let me know how those teams go for you. Also, don't forget to check out that link to the save squads that I made for the teams that I covered. If you have any problems with that, let me know, but make sure to get that. Let me know down in the comments if you have good other hybrid teams. I would love to get some recording footage of that working. I probably will do that using my teams and show you how that went for damage wise. But until next time, make sure you spend those resources wisely, and we'll see you around.